guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today and watching this video. Today's video is going to be a tattoo apprenticeship Q&A. So I did post on my Instagram for you guys to ask me any questions that you guys have, because I do get people DMing me, asking me quite a lot of questions about how's my tattoo apprenticeship going, portfolio tips. I try and take as much time out as I can to get back to you guys, but I really don't have all the time in the world to actually answer in detail. So I feel like I'm gonna try and answer as many questions as much as I can in this video, in future videos, try and give you guys as much information as you need. So instead of having to like answer all of these questions over and over again, I can instead direct you guys to videos where you will have the information there. So that's kind of my aim. Yeah, so a lot of you guys did get back to me. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone who asked questions. I'll try and answer as many as I can. So let's just start with the first one. So first of all, a lot of you guys did ask me about portfolio stuff. What kind of thing to put in your portfolio? Is it good to have your own style? Top tips on how to put together a good portfolio, top tips for building a portfolio. And I do think because of the high demand in that, I am going to do a separate video on what kind of things to put in your portfolio, what kind of things a shop's looking for, things like that. So if you guys are interested in advice on how to put a portfolio together, hold tight for that video. I will make that at some point very soon. So anyway, some of the other questions I got was, do you get nervous before tattooing someone? I have tattooed 3 people, including myself, so far at my shop, and yeah, I think nerves is probably something that is quite a consistent thing with this kind of work, especially if you're beginning. One of the biggest things that a new tattoo artist will have to face is straight lines, because as much as you can draw straight lines in drawing, it's a whole other ball game trying to do a straight line with a machine that's vibrating. You've got a machine going like that and you've got to like try and do like a straight line, and that is extremely nerve-wracking. Also just the impact of how important this thing is going to be, you know, it's going to be on your client forever. A lot of people feel very, very sacred about what goes on their body, which are probably not the types of people that you should be tattooing at the beginning of your apprenticeship. But basically the answer is yes. I get extremely nervous each time, proper adrenaline rush, and it's a process of calming yourself down so that you have the ultimate control over your lines. It's just practice. The more you get used to it, the more comfortable you feel, the more you're aware of your ability, what you can do, what you can't do. At the beginning, it's all just new, so yeah, very nerve-wracking. The next question is, what a day as an apprentice looks like. Every single apprenticeship will be completely different, so it's kind of impossible. Don't take away from what my experience is that this is what every single tattoo apprentice will be doing. But my days, I turn up at work at 10, everyone in the shop does a full-on deep clean of the entire shop, you know, all the floors, all the surfaces, glass, windows, toilet. That usually takes about an hour, and then we open. Depending on if the receptionist is in or not, I might be on reception, which is answering calls, checking emails, making bookings. I'd say about 80% of my apprenticeship is just me sat down drawing. If I have a tattoo coming up, then I will, obviously the day will be different. I'll be setting up the station, preparing the design. Or if I have a tattoo booking in the next week, I'll be practicing it on fake skin. So again, I'll be setting up, practicing on the fake skin. If I'm not doing that and I'm just sat around drawing for hours, I will help my other resident tattoo artist help set up his station, help get him what he needs, get him different needles, things like that. But a lot of tattoo apprenticeships are different. At my last one, I was more on cleaning duties and sort of getting coffee for the other people working and being more of a runner. That's why I really like this new apprenticeship, actually, because a lot of the time I'm just spent drawing. So someone else asked, how do you motivate yourself to draw tattoo designs, and what inspires you while you're drawing? This is a very good question. I have struggled quite a lot with artist block in the past. It's really, really difficult to overcome artist block, as many of you will know. I tend to find what kind of helps me be inspired and have things that I'm working on is sort of thinking of like different themes and assigning different projects. So like, for example, what I'm working on at the moment is different style flash sheets. I did 2 Japanese style flash sheets, and then I did like a witchy style flash sheet, and then now I'm doing a little bit more of a trippy psychedelic type of flash sheet. And I think assigning like a theme gives you so much more scope to come up with new ideas, if you know what I mean, instead of just every single day just being like, what should I draw? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to draw. Earlier on in my apprenticeship, I was working on the human anatomy and like practicing a lot of that kind of thing, and like portraiture and everything that comes with that. And then once I feel satisfied in that, I then moved on to flowers, different kinds of flowers. So I think something that might be useful for you guys is to set yourself a theme, something that you like, something that you feel like you'll want to draw. Explore as much of that realm as you can. And once that project is up, you just got to think of a new one. If you know what I mean. You're not very good at mandalas, maybe spend a week just drawing mandalas. Yeah, that's kind of how I keep myself going. So someone else asked, can you give me any good tips on how to find a good apprenticeship so that you don't feel like disrespected? I know you said you moved from the last place you were in as you felt like that. If you guys have watched my I'm Back video, I did talk about how I left my first apprenticeship and really wasn't happy with the way that I was being treated. There seems to be this culture of people at the top kind of shitting on the people at the bottom. Not in every single apprenticeship, but there's a slight culture of that, and there are quite a lot of horror stories. For example, my boss at my first place called me the C word. Probably can't say it on YouTube. The C word because I used the wrong like tablecloth to clean the chair, which she hadn't told me to use that one. It was quite embarrassing. It was in front of a customer. She used to sort of humiliate me when I did things wrong in front of customers. Be like, it's pathetic, blah, blah, blah. There were lots of times where I'd be at the shop and I'd be sort of like outside having a cigarette, just being like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. You know, most tattoo apprenticeships don't pay. There's no incentive to put yourself through that kind of thing. You have to have some level of standard on how you expect to be treated. Just because you're in the industry that you really want to be in and this person is like your god because they're the one who's gonna give you this chance or not, doesn't mean that they're able to just use and abuse you, you know what I mean? You have to have that inner strength and that inner conviction, like standard of how you expect to be treated. Be open to the idea that you might have to like bounce around shops a little bit. I don't really think there's any way you can tell before you actually start working somewhere whether it's going to suit you or not. I've worked in many different places in my life. I've personally never been able to tell beforehand. The best thing to do is just throw yourself into the first apprenticeship that is given to you. Be open to the idea that if it goes wrong, you can just leave. You can just leave and just go find an apprenticeship somewhere else. And if you have to go through 5 different places before you find somewhere that treats you well, then maybe that's just what you have to do. Be confident, have conviction in your ability. You're there because you're an artist, you're a good artist, you know that you want to do this. Just trust in yourself and don't let other people walk over you. So someone else asked, how long is the average tattoo apprenticeship? Different tattoo apprenticeships are different lengths. Mine doesn't have a timestamp, so I've signed a contract that says I'm gonna work there for 2 years and I've already started actually tattooing people, so technically I'm just sort of there learning unofficially, and then the second I'm good enough to actually tattoo clients, they're just gonna let me do that. Whereas I know a lot of other apprenticeships are usually like a year before they even let you on the tattoo machine, you know, a year of unpaid work, cleaning around the shop, practicing your art skills. Some places I know are even 2 years before they even let you on a machine. I've rarely ever heard of any apprenticeships that are longer than 2 years. Yeah, so it really varies on the shop. Someone else has asked about hours and flexibility. My apprenticeship is 4 days a week, overall 36 hours a week, 4 days, 10 to 7, on Wednesday to Saturday. Most shops are open 6 days a week. A lot of different apprenticeships want different things from apprentices. Now it gets very difficult because it's unpaid. A lot of people aren't rich enough to have an apprenticeship without having some kind of income on the side. So like for example me, YouTube is a good thing because I don't have to lose one of my days off. I can just sit here and do this and like get a little bit of money for it, which is nice. So I definitely would recommend setting up sort of side businesses that just kind of can feed themselves a little bit. But like I said, a lot of other people do feel like they can't afford the apprenticeship unless they get a job on the side, right? And if the apprenticeship requires you to work 5, even 6 days a week sometimes, then that's going to be really, really impossible to work that. So then you might not be able to do the apprenticeship. Luckily for me, it's only 4 days a week, so I can sustain other things. That is probably one of the toughest things about working as an apprentice, is not getting paid and being expected to be present a lot, which is just really a big pickle. Very much depends on the place, like I said. Someone else has asked, I actually think this is a really good question, any tips on being a good apprentice? I'm really having to think about this one. How to be a good apprentice. Maybe I haven't quite figured it out. Number 1, drawing skills. You gotta have your drawing to a certain standard. And that's on you. That's not on the shop to teach you that. you've got to have that ready. And if it takes you a year before you feel ready to apply for an apprenticeship, it takes a year. If it takes 3 years, it takes 3 years. You've got to be competent at art. The apprenticeship will go a lot easier and a lot quicker the better you are at the thing. If you're a really good artist and you already understand about perspective and anatomy and shading and things like that, all you're really needing to learn is how to use the machine. Then you can just transfer your art skills onto that. But if you get put on the machine and you're trying to learn that stuff, then you're going to be a lot worse at the actual tattooing, and the apprenticeship is going to drag out and it's going to be a lot longer. So if you want to be a successful tattoo artist, be good at drawing, basically. Number 2, I think at the end of the day, they know about the industry a lot more than you do. Don't be stubborn about if they tell you to do it this way instead of that way. Do as you're told at the beginning, because you don't know what you're doing, let's be honest. Be good with the cleaning and the little rubbish job. Don't think just because you're a good artist and you're there because you're a good artist that you're not going to be expected to like run and get coffee or post a letter, clean for hours, you know, like just be easy in the shop, be easy to work with. Just understand you're there because you're a good artist, but you're at the bottom. You know, you've got to work your way up. I think I've answered that one. That one was actually really quite difficult. So someone else asked what it's like to have a tattoo apprenticeship. If I'm honest, it's tiring. It's very, very tiring. I'm exhausted a lot of the time, even though I only work 4 days a week, but I work 9-hour days, 4 days in a row. Basically, wake up, go to work, 9 hours, draw, clean, come home, eat food, go to sleep, wake up, repeat. 4 days in a row. My social life has definitely taken a big hit. It's a lot harder to like see my friends, see my boyfriend, things like that. My head is like in work zone a lot of the time. That is quite exhausting. On the flip side of that, it's an incredibly rewarding job. You know, there's lots of hurdles that you overcome and you get like a lot of validation and affirmation from like tiny little micro achievements that you're constantly going to be going through, which is really good for the soul. I personally really do feel like I've found the work that I am supposed to be in, that I truly, truly belong in. It's really nice not having to worry about like, oh my God, I'm like 23 and I haven't figured out what I want to do in life and I'm not working a good job, or like I don't have enough money or things like that. It's really nice not to have to worry about that financially. Obviously right now I'm really struggling because it's not paying, so I'm like just about scraping it through. But once I actually start getting clients in, like money's gonna be easy. It pays quite well, better than like bar work. A lot better, to be honest. It's tough. It is quite tough. It's a very real job, if you know what I mean. Learning any craft is difficult, especially a craft that has this much pressure to it. There's a lot of pressure in tattooing. If this is something that you feel like you want to do, definitely go into it because it will pay out, but there's a very uphill struggle that everyone will have to go to. But once you achieve the thing that you want, it will be great, you know? I think a lot of people are quite interested in how to actually go about obtaining an apprenticeship. I do talk a little bit about how I got my apprenticeship in my video called My New Tattoo Apprenticeship, which you can click on the link up here and you can go and watch that. That will give you a little bit of information on there. If you want to know more about portfolio stuff, that video should be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask below. I will try and get back to you as best I can. But yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like and a subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you did like it, and I hope to see you guys again in my next video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.